Go ahead, man, wash your hands. You good? I'll get your pants ready and stuff, and I think the dryer should be good. Yeah, here's your pants right now. Okay. You wanna dry your hands, man?
Yeah.
No, you wanna dry them? Can you? It's all right. We're gonna drain your bladder, okay? And then from there, we're gonna try to get in the shower, okay? Sound like a plan? Okay. I found the scissors. I know, Dad. Now don't move, okay? Just don't move. I gotta grab this up. Remember the doctor told us to measure this?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right. All right. Let's, My job had a retooling plan, and what it was is that one of the cars that we were building, it was going to be eliminated, and then a new car comes in. So because of that, they had to retool the whole factory, which allowed us like a 5-6 month layoff. But before this layoff happened, which was around the first week of March of 2017, my dad, one night he was showering, and this is the time where he could shower himself actually, and he came out, and I remember looking at him, and he's shaking. You know, it was as if he had Parkinson's or something. You know, I'm looking at him like, you okay, man? He's like, yeah, I'm fine, man. I'm like, okay. And he was still with it. He was still comprehending basic things. And it was like the next day or next couple days after that, and I told my dad, I said, hey, I'm going to the grocery store, and he wanted to come with me. And he said, okay, you know, and he went to the bathroom, he left the door open, and he was sitting on the toilet, and he just started throwing up everywhere, like on the wall, on the floor, and I'm like, oh my God. So I took him to the ER. I ran him to the hospital down the street, got him in, told him what was going on. They took his blood pressure. It was like 230 over 160. And they're like, oh my God, you know, this man's about to have a heart attack. His blood pressure's rising. So they did all these tests on him, and they found out that there's a chemical in your body, it's called creatinine. And it's supposed to be, I believe if I'm wrong, like a 0.5 to like a 1.5. My dad was at like 15. And what that says is that your kidneys are not functioning. There's something wrong. Something is really, really wrong. So they took him upstairs, and they had to do emergency dialysis on him.
Doing today, Dad?
It's all gonna be better when we move up front.
Something.
Are they doing surgery?
Surgery.
What are they doing though? You don't know? Okay. Are you scared? Yeah? Why are you scared?
Something.
You don't know?
The doctors are asking us questions like, you know, was he feeling sick? Was he feeling this? And I'm like, listen, you know, he's got a condition, you know, a dementia / Alzheimer's. We don't know which one at this time of what's going on. I mean, he doesn't know how to describe, you know, certain things in daily life, much less if he's feeling sick. Like, is he able to even describe that? At that time, I didn't even know. So was he feeling sick? I mean, yeah, he was, obviously, but could he tell us that he was feeling sick? Probably not. Because at this time, I feel like his vocabulary now was being cut. And I mean, with like certain basic words he would forget. You know, hey, Dad, you know, are you feeling okay? He would just look at you like he didn't know how to respond. It was like he nodded his head sometimes, if you could remember that. So it was hard for him to communicate or try to tell people how he felt, because at my belief, he couldn't. I remember he was in the hospital though for about a good 6 or 5 days, and they told me, they called me and they said, hey, your dad's about to go home. And I got off work that day and I came to the hospital, and the lady was telling me, she said, hey, listen, your dad's kidneys, they're not working properly. He's gonna have to go to dialysis Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, 3-4 hours a day. And she was like, also, he's gonna be sent home with a catheter, because my dad couldn't urinate. So they had to put a catheter in him. So she was like, also his urine bag is gonna have to be drained every 4 or 5 hours. And I remember looking at her like, you're lucky, I'm lucky, he's lucky that I get laid off literally the next day. It was the next day I got laid off. Like, if you would have delivered this news to me a month ago, how could I even do it? How could I, with the story that I tell you about his Social Security not coming through and his alimony he had to pay, who's gonna come in now and take care of this man for free, draining his urine bag, you know, taking him dialysis, transportation, cooking him his food, making sure he's not, you know, who would have done that? So it was like this perfect timing to where the next day he came home was my first day of layoff. And I told the lady, she was like, wow, that's crazy. I said, yeah, you're telling me. I mean, I would have been completely lost on what to do. What was I gonna do, take a month off work? I mean, I got bills to pay with money I've already been spending on this situation. I have so much financial responsibility that this would have just crushed me if it would have had a month prior, if it would have happened. I think one of the biggest hits through all this medical issue was the people that he helped. Whether it was a relative down south or a relative up north. All the money that he's been giving them for years to help, when it came to his help, when it came to his rescue, nobody was there. I think that was one of the biggest hits of the realization of, hey, Rube, you're by yourself. I used to set my alarm for 1 a.m. and 5 a.m. in the morning to drain his urine bag, and I used to get up. And I remember one night I got up and I walked into his room, and his urine bag was, you know, pretty full. So I grabbed a little container they gave me from the hospital, and I was draining the urine. And I remember my dad just talking to me and looking at me, and he was telling me stories about his childhood that made no sense of anything that was even going on, what I was doing. And I remember being like, yeah, Dad, I know, Dad, and, I'm trying to keep my sanity, and I'm like, okay, man, well, go back to bed, and I had this, big cup full of urine and just spilling it. And it spilled on the wooden floor underneath his bed. I mean, it was the point where now I had to push his bed to mop it, And I remember just, when it fell, just being so emotional. I remember just being like, man, where does it stop? I mean, given it was my fault, yeah, I dropped it. But I remember my dad didn't even acknowledge that I spilled it. He was just still talking about his childhood as his urine's going underneath his bed, just talking about his childhood, not even being aware of what his son's doing. And I remember just going in the kitchen and just crying. I mean, where has life turned so bad, Don't go in Dad's room crying. You gotta regroup yourself, and I'll be okay. And I remember just, getting the mop and, mopping the floor. And Dad still talking about his childhood. It was normal. He didn't see anything wrong with it. It was like his comprehension of anything was entirely absent. May or April of this year, 2017, my dad could brush his teeth. I say September or even August of 2017, that became a struggle now. So go ahead and I want you to brush your teeth, okay? Dad, brush your teeth. No, that's not soap. You gotta use toothpaste, man. Here, wash your hands. Wash your hands. There you go. This is your toothbrush, right? Okay, grab your toothbrush. No. Now, your toothpaste. Now go ahead and put put the toothpaste on the toothbrush. Yeah. There you go, man. Go ahead and brush for a while, man. You can't comprehend how it is that a strong person, a strong model in your life can no longer brush his teeth. I mean, it's the most simplest thing you've been doing for years. I mean, how do you forget that, you know? With this whole situation, it's changed me to something that I feel like I'll do anything in my power to help my dad, and nothing's gonna stop me. You know, nothing, you have to kill me to stop me, to stop caring for my dad or do anything I can for my dad. I mean, that's how strong the bond is. That's how strong and deeply motivated I am. With everything that's been happening in the past almost 2 years, the normal life now for us has, it's been adjusted for both of us. It's been the norm, like I say. Now that I'm back at work, I actually have another caretaker for my dad. His status as a permanent resident / citizen is still in the air. I filed everything for him. So for now, with his funds not being so great from the sickness and accident pay through Chrysler, I pay out of pocket right now. I can't do all day, obviously, because, you know, bills don't stop. So obviously, if you do the math, you know, after taxes and paying, you know, a caretaker a certain amount of money an hour, he can't be watched all day. You know, there's actually some people that tell me, you know, he should be home by himself, or he shouldn't be. And, you know, I look at them like, what can I do? You know, my hands are tied. What can I do? You know, you don't think I don't think that. You don't think that. I've tried to look for other resources. They're not there. You're really restricted to what you can and cannot do. Your options are cut. I can't tell you how bad it hurts when you do all this for your dad, and you can't help but wonder, you know, if he could really just speak his mind, you know, would he be proud of his, you know, baby boy stepping up and doing something really hard? I mean, it's something that makes you wonder, you know, but it's also something that you have to realize that you'll never hear. But there is times though where I'll be cooking food, he'll look at me and be like, hey, thanks. You look at him like, what? He's like, thanks. And that itself, it's nice to hear. It may not be a lot, but it's something nice to hear. There's actually a photo of me and my dad. I believe I was probably maybe like 3 or 4, maybe, and he's holding my hand, and I look at it many times, and it tears me up because because this role has been switched. In this picture, I look at it and I say, man, you know, he's healthy, he's young, you know, I'm a baby basically, and he's holding his boy's hand, and it's hard to really look at it and say, you know, wow, I'm the one, you know, holding, you know, his hand. I'm the one, you know, guiding him. You know, it's tough. But it lets me know, just don't give up, you know, just stick in there and do what you gotta do more than you ever thought possible.